What's up? Honor 26 here to give you my video on Ring of Honor dismissing or parting ways with their booker Adam Pearce. Basically, all we know right now is that it will be Delirious taking over for Adam Pearce, and I'll give you my reasons why this is going to be a more smoother transition now than it was when Gabe left and they brought in Pearce. Basically, Gabe was the lone booker when he was let go in 2008, and basically right now he has Pearce, when he was let go, has Cornette helping him a lot and David Lagana helping him a lot. So, you know, he's not alone. It's not going to be a completely new thing like it was in 2008, and that was kind of a rougher transition than I'm assuming this one will be. But the only way we're going to truly find out is just waiting and seeing. The TV shows, I think Lagana has a big say in, so it's not going to really be there, but it'll maybe at the Richmond show, we'll be able to find out. The Charlotte show, we probably will see all the finished product at Glory by Honor 9. So that'll kind of be the test, I guess, to see whether it's going to be a smoother transition than we think it's going to be, or it's going to be rougher, or it's going to be right as we think it's going to be. But we just got to wait and see, you know. Am I questioning whether this was the right move? I mean, in the PWA Insider article I'm going to attach the statement from Adam Pearce. He mentioned something that oil and water don't mix, saying that there's two sides of professional wrestling, a creative side and a business side, and one of them didn't mesh, and the change was made. And Pearce seemed like he didn't have any harsh feelings, which I'm glad for. I wouldn't mind actually seeing him come back as an on-screen character in ROH. I think he is very charismatic and is an excellent promo guy. So I wouldn't mind seeing him come back, maybe, you know, be the manager for a faction, maybe take off where Larry Sweeney left off or something like that. I wouldn't mind seeing that at all, actually. But I just think that the year that ROH is having has a lot that people should thank Adam Pearce for, because the way he books shows got over quick this year. And, you know, this Ring of Honor, this worst show this year, I haven't seen Buffalo Stampede 2 yet, but right now is Gold Rush, and I gave that a 6.75. If that's the worst show they have this year, they're having an amazing year. Even in the really good years of Ring of Honor, like 06, 07, and 05, that I feel, there were still shows. There was like at least one show every year. There was like a 5 or a low 6 or something like that. A show that was hard to sit through. There wasn't really any terrible show this year. So they're on pace to have the best year in company history. And a lot has to do with how Pearce booked, and a lot of how Pearce got the credit into it, and the credit interaction kind of makes Ring of Honor special. So, you know, was this move the right thing? We'll just have to wait and see. As of right now, I'm going to say I do trust Kerry Silkin a lot, and he's the one who made this move. So I just trust Ring of Honor. You know, I don't want to bash the new regime every time it happens, but I mean, it took me a little while to get into Pearce. It was different, but it took a little bit of a transition to get into. It might be a little bit less here, but I just want to wait and see, because I love this company. So I really just want to wait and see what happens. So, and that relates to a Q&A question that I got from Sanders Robin 24 that I'll be answering right now in this video to, I guess, explain a little bit more on where I'm coming from that. And the link to the PWA Insider article is right there as well. Robin asks, what in your opinion were the positives and negatives of Gabe Sapolsky when he was booking ROH? Now that Adam Pearce is gone, what were your overall thoughts on the job he did, and how much credit he really deserve for ROH 2010 so far? A year that many people would agree has been their best year in a long time. Alright, first part of that is what are the positives and negatives of Gabe Sapolsky when he was booking ROH. Big positive for Gabe was how he was able to judge talent. A lot of the talent he brought in, like, he was responsible for bringing in Hero. That obviously worked. Castagnoli. That obviously worked. He brought in Davey Richards. That worked. Eddie Edwards even he saw, and that worked. Not saying Pearce was bad at it, just that was something Gabe was known for. Pearce did a good job too, but just it was such a strong thing from Gabe. Gabe's booking style worked in a promotion like the early days of Ring of Honor. That worked very well for a promotion that didn't run many shows a year, like Evolve would work, or like Dragon USA maybe even though they're starting to increase shows. Once the ROH shows kind of consumed, we got a little bit stale from the booking style of Gabe. That's why 2002 Gabe was perfect. 2003 Gabe as Booker would be perfect. Even 04 and maybe even 05, but 06 I started to see a little bit of the blandness, and I continued throughout 7, and then 08 they had to make the change after Ring of Homicide 2. After two shows that should have delivered way more than they did because they had Homicide and Hernandez on them, so they had to make that change. Negatives have to be the blandness. Gabe, or actually the biggest negative to Gabe was he wasn't good at working with others, apparently. He also wasn't a big fan of expansion. He wanted to keep it this underground company, and even to get it to tape pay-per-views was a struggle. That took way longer than it probably should have. Getting to bigger arenas, like the Hammerstein Ballroom, should have happened at least 2 years before it did. At least they moved to the Manhattan Center, which was a little better, which they actually are back at now, probably because of cost issues, but that's different. Also, should have gotten an ROH TV deal, just like they did. I don't think it's a coincidence that 4 months after Gabe leaves and Pearce takes over, they have a TV deal, like 4 months, and they have their first TV show 5 months after. Now they have this deal with Go Fight Live. A lot of the problems that were bland with Ring of Honor were fixed because Pearce just took over within 4 or 5 months of Pearce taking over. I don't think that's a coincidence at all. But for that reason, there's not too much wrong with Ring of Honor now. One problem that I can think of is maybe get the DVDs out a little bit sooner, but that might not be Ring of Honor's fault all itself. I know, but maybe that's why Chikara is seen as such a great company, because they come out with their DVDs 2 or 3 weeks right after the shows happen, so it feels like you were even at least there. Like Chikara Source Rex, if I hadn't gone to that, I would have felt a lot better that I didn't go because I had the DVD, and I had seen the DVD within a week of going to the show. PWG is getting a lot better about that. I remember it took them like 3 or 4 months to get Bullet 2009 out. It took them a month and a half to get Kurt WrestleMania out, so I was very happy with that. So ROH, that's one thing they kind of need to shore up right now. So I mean, the booking is good, the crowds are as good as ever. Well, I wouldn't say good as ever because some of the crowds are bad, but in the big cities they're good. Let me try and think here. Alright, I guess that's the biggest positives and negatives for Gabe. And I guess Gabe was likable, so he did have a following because he was from the original ECW. So, there's that. Now that Adam Pearce is gone, what are your thoughts on the job he did? I think he did a phenomenal job. Another big negative of Gabe was that he dug ROH into such a big hole. It took about 5 months for ROH to even get out of that, and Pearce to kind of even break even with his own booking because of it. Pearce, I didn't think there was a good show, or a great show in Ring of Honor, which is 8.0 and higher on my scale, until 7th Anniversary Show in 2009 for that reason. And Gabe didn't have, not Gabe, Pearce only had 2 shows, 3 shows in 2008 after he took over, Bound by Hate, Rising Above 2008, and Final Bad 2008, and, well, okay, All-Star Forever Against the 4 as well. He had 4 shows, and I think out of the 8 that he booked, or 9 that he booked, that were great. And so it took a little bit of time for him to just get it in the direction he wanted. That's why Supercard Honor 4 is seen as such, probably it might be a little overrated as a show, because that was seen as such an integral show to Pearce getting over his booker and to the new ROH. And now from the run they put on from 7th Anniversary Show until, I guess, Survival of the Fittest 2009, I mean, they had just good to great shows to even amazing shows, just back to back to back to back to back. They didn't have one bad show in that stretch. And, you know, he did that this year too. Every show they've had this year has been, except for Gold Rush, Civil Warfare, and what I'm reading about, what's the name of that show? Buffalo Stampede 2. Every show has been great. And pretty much there were sort of 3 throwaway shows anyway, so, you know, even though I was there live for Civil Warfare, I mean, that was a throwaway show, honestly. But it's still ROH. But, you know, Pearce deserves a lot of credit. And I will continue to be a fan of his. I would love to see him back in Ring of Honor, but as an ROH fan, the best thing to do right now is just wait and see what happens. But I have so much trust in this company that, well, I think things will be just fine. And so, alright, well, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. You know, this was a little shocking, having this announcement and Daniel Bryan return to the WWE right after another. And we did hear that he will be retaining his Evolve and Dragon Gate USA dates, so that's good. And he's facing, in IPW, is facing Drake Younger. So I want to see that match as well. Alright, thanks you guys for watching. I'll see you guys later.